Hey, recovering nice guys. In this video, I've got two stories here which illuminate the changes that I've had to make in my life to escape the nice guy trap. And it was a nice guy trap. I grew up being a nice guy, and that's how I kept myself safe in the beginning. And it's how I kept myself invisible at school and coming out as a teenager and into my 20s. And it's where I tried to get my sexual needs met via being nice. But of course, if you're a nice guy, as you know, that doesn't work. So here are two stories from my life about my journey in escaping the nice guy trap. So I learned to stop playing the mating game or whatever game that she's playing and stop playing it the way that she expects me to play it. So being a nice guy, I was a yes man. I was very rarely did I say no because I didn't want to do anything. I didn't care about what I wanted. Nobody in my life in my early years gave a shit about what I wanted, so I learnt that what I wanted didn't matter. And so in my relationships with women in my 20s, it was what I wanted didn't matter. And so I never had any clear idea on what I wanted. So women would ask what you want, friends would ask what do you want, I don't know. And so I just get used and I'd get abused and I'd get taken advantage of. That happens to most nice guys. One of the reasons why so many of us get angry, because we're angry at being used and abused and taken advantage of. But back to my story. So I was up in Byron Bay and for a mate's wedding. And we went out to a club, and a couple of nights before, wasn't really a bucks party, it was just a celebration, a few drinks with mates and that sort of thing, both genders involved. And yeah, so it was a few different groups of friends. It was a really nice evening. I had a few drinks, and this woman come up to me. I'm standing beside my mates, and this woman comes up to me and says, "Buy me a drink." And I was feeling a bit cocky at the time because I said something really unusual, something I'd never said to any woman previously. I looked down at her and I said, "No, I'm not going to buy you a drink. You buy me a drink." Because what's going to happen is, I buy you a drink and then you go off and you go home with somebody else. No, you buy me a drink. And she went, to my surprise, "Okay." And so she grabbed my hand and dragged me over to the bar and bought me a few drinks. And the next thing you know, at the end of a night, I'm going home with her. And a very pleasant evening ensued. So I didn't play it her way. I didn't play it the way that I would normally play it. Being the nice guy. "Oh yeah, sure, I'll buy you a drink. What do you want?" And it was like, "No, you buy me a drink instead." And it worked. That worked. It got her interest. And lo and behold, she worked quite hard at getting into my good books, at getting my attention, at seducing me, getting a connection, and then organising a place where we could hang out after the club closed. So all in all, I learnt a big lesson that night about not being a nice guy and just speaking up and playing a bit of a game and with them, not playing things her way. Short story number 2. I've learnt that to get what I want from women, they're always trying to get what they want from us. So to get the erotic connection that I'm wanting to get with the women that I want to get a connection with, because one of the mistakes a lot of men make is they want to get a sexual connection with everybody. A lot of women make that mistake as well. And that doesn't work. It's not fulfilling. It's not satisfactory. It might be great for your ego and for your narcissism and your vanity, But, on a human level, there's no meaning to it, and it's just two bodies slapping, masturbating themselves with each other, and it's not very satisfactory. So I like to connect with women, the women who I'm gonna have sex with or make love with or fuck. And I've learnt to tell women what I want from the start. So, one story is I met a woman in a bar, and she was a friend of a friend, and we really connected over a few drinks and over a few hours, and we're walking home, and then we got to a place where it was like, I'm going this way, she's going that way, and she had quite a distance, too much of a distance to walk her home and then walk home to my place. And so we're standing there, and she's looking at me and I'm looking at her, and then I just said to her, okay, well, it looks like we have a choice. And the choice is that we can split here and go to our own individual homes, or I can come to your place. What do you want to do? So I told her what I wanted to do. And so it was up to her then to make up her mind. And she chose for me to go back to her place. And so that worked as well. So it was like, this is what I want. What do you want? Putting it out there. Nice guys, one of our errors is that we don't put it out there. So the so-called bad boys or successful guys sexually with women will put it out there. And they've learnt to harden themselves to rejection, so they'll put it out there to 10 women in the hope of getting one. They'll put it out there into 20 women in the hope of getting one woman who says yes. You do that every night and you get one woman who says yes. So it's just putting it out there. What is it that you want? Okay. Now, when I left this is another story, so this would be story number 3. When I left my wife, I started dating a lot of women. And in those days, this is before the internet dating thing. We'd meet each other by phone, and you have the chat in the phone, and if you connected on the phone, then you'd organise a blind date. And so with those blind dates, I'd learnt I was busy. I was a busy person. I had a full-time job. I was a separated dad. I had my child on a Tuesday night, and on a weekend, my weekends were shot, and I was studying one night a week. And I had 2 lovers at various different times. So I'd meet women, and it was like, okay, I don't have time to fuck around with games or with mucking around or, going out for dinner in the hope that she might be interested. It was like, no, I want to cut to the chase. And women want to cut to the chase as well. So I'm meeting women and I'm telling them, okay, now look, I've just come out of a 10-year relationship, so I'm not after monogamy. That's not what I'm going for. I'm really not into one-night stands. It doesn't really appeal to me. I like women. I like having sex. I like having great sex. I like waking up with a woman, seeing a movie, laying around with a woman. I like having brekkie with a woman. I like that sort of relatedness, but I don't want the full-on commitment. And so how does that sound to you? So that's just a starter on, like, this is what I don't want, this is what I don't want, this is what I do want. What do you want? What are you looking for? And so that opens up a conversation. 2 adults who are busy, who have got commitments and, who don't want to be fucking around. And so it's like, I would either get the response of, what? Oh, no, I want the relationship and the white picket fence. That's great. Thank you. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great life and good luck in getting what you want. That's not what I'm seeking. Other women was like, oh, look, that sounds interesting, but I'm not interested in you. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. Another person might go, oh, really? Tell me, how would that work? And so then a conversation would ensue. And some of those conversations ended up with me being lovers with these women, and some of them went on their own way. And that's fine. Absolutely fine. We all are attracted to different people. Because they're not attracted to me doesn't mean there's something wrong. They're not attracted to me doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. It just means they're not attracted with me. There's no spark, which is fine. There's plenty of women that I meet where there's no spark as well. It's not their problem. It's just something that doesn't happen between us. So those two stories, so stop playing their games and start speaking up and saying what you want. And two is just speaking up with what you want first. Many women want to have casual sex. They want to engage with men, but they don't want to ask you. They're failing as a woman if you don't ask them, if you don't initiate. So it's getting yourself into a position to get used to initiating. And it can be subtle and it can be overt. So what's your style? Bonus point. Fellas, if you've been friend zoned, you're not going to get out of the friend zone. Seriously. When a woman friend zones you, you are not going to be able to do anything to magically break down that barrier, melt that barrier, overcome that barrier to be something other than a friend in her eyes. She doesn't see you as a lover, so move on. Unless you've actually really just want to be friends with her and really truly just want to be friends with her, move on. Let go. Find another woman where you can start again. Because the existing woman that has friend zoned you, she is not going to change her mind. Right? The only way she may see you differently is if you move on from her, stop giving her the attention that you've been giving her, do your work, get focused on your life, get focused on being more of who you are, and not seeing her for, 6 months, a year or two. And then at some stage you might bump into each other, and then if you've changed enough, then she might see you differently. 90% chance she won't, but she might see you differently. But you don't do all the work to try and get a woman to take you out of the friend zone paddock and put you into the lover's paddock. She ain't going to do that. Okay, that's a bonus point. All right? So, please leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.